Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Kenzie's Krimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
C says Heaven's Gate awaiting.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and continuing with Kenzie's Krimes theme for October, or I'm sorry, Spooktober.
Spooktober, baby.
Could be Rocktober, but it's Spooktober. Of haunted places around Chicago that may or may not relate to crimes, which is what the basis of Kenzie Krimes is.
Brian, I did this one just for you.
Oh.
So you have brought this place up before. You're like, I don't know a lot about it, but I've heard about it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the deep dive this week. So I know a lot of people have heard of this place, the Irish Legend.
Yes. So I've been there, ate once at a meal there, and the bartender, she really told me about how there's been haunted tours go through here, but I don't know many of the details. I just remember the food was outstanding.
And that's what matters the most.
It's sure. If a ghost is going to kill me, I want the last meal right there.
There's some good food in there, you know?
That's right, exactly.
If I was a ghost, I'd be in a place with good food. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be there forever.
Know what I mean?
Okay. So, the Irish Legend, as you can tell from Brian, it's a warm and welcoming bar and restaurant that many people have visited and enjoyed over the years ever since it opened. It's located in Willow Springs, west of Chicago. It has a rich Irish immigrant history. And of course, it's particularly popular during the annual St. Patrick's Day celebrations. People come together from across town and beyond to celebrate at this awesome pub at 8933 South Archer, which is actually near an old Native American trail. So in the 19th century, the route before it became Archer Avenue was used by fur traders to carry boats between the Des Plaines and Chicago rivers, okay? The route followed an ancient Native American trail. And when the Illinois-Michigan Canal was built, this historic trail started to expand into wider use. So the canal's construction in the mid-19th century attracted a boom of Italian, German, Polish, and Irish immigrants, all in search of work. And because of that, business on Archer Avenue grew to that demand. As the years went by, a number of Native American burial mounds were actually destroyed to make way for these growing industries.
This sounds like a bad move.
I don't think it's smart, but that's me, you know?
It's actually, in a way, it's the theme of Poltergeist.
Kind of.
The movie Poltergeist, where they move the headstones.
Well, that's a little looming for what's coming next.
Ooh.
So now more people working means more places for entertainment. People need to relax, get a drink, unwind. However, along with that came trouble, gambling, disorderly conduct, gunslinging, bootlegging, and prostitution all also became booming industries.
Well, that's cool.
So wait.
Maybe not the gunslinging part, but the prostitutes.
But even then, gunslinging is a cool word.
I know.
I would like to be involved in gunslinging.
That's not a good thing to say. That is not the motto of our show either. I would like to point that out there.
Well, let's just go back to that time. It'd be cool to say, like, here comes Brian. What's he? He's a gunslinger.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? It'd be awesome.
I would feel like you'd be a gun drubber, fumbler.
Sorry about shooting Mike. I dropped my gun because I'm a gunslinger, but I'm not very good at it.
Gun fumbler.
Gun fumbler.
So I am actually going to pause right there.
Okay.
Gunslinging, bootlegging, prostitution, all booming when this hostelry was built. Hostelry or hostelry? I don't want to say
Is that the name for a bar?
But it's, it's like a term, like a pub, like a hostelry. I don't want to hear about it on the text line, to be honest. But I'm actually like shooketh. I wasn't prepared for what happened to people in this hostelry.
When we come back, the conclusion to Kenzie's Krimes on haunted places around Chicago.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with the conclusion of Kenzie's Krimes. It's examination into a haunted place where definitely some crimes happened as well. So take it from there, Kenzie, with a quick recap, I guess.
Yeah, so we are talking about the Irish legend. It's over on Archer Avenue, and it has a pretty brutal history. It used to basically be on Native American burial mounds, which were destroyed when those growing industries and businesses got put up. Now, along with tons of people coming in, trouble comes along with that, good and bad, right? So gambling, disorderly conduct, gunslinging, bootlegging, and prostitution all started to boom as tons of people migrated there, right?
However, they also have harp-battered North Atlantic cod, fish and chips with fries, homemade tartar sauce. That is to die for.
Before, it was the Irish legend. It had illegal gambling in the basement and attic. Well, prostitutes entertained in the smaller bedrooms on the second floor. Now, if you see this building today, it almost looks like an old school house, kind of.
It looks like a big haunted house, kind of.
Yeah, it really does. So it does have all those floors. Now, murder and robbery were very common because drunken men became easy targets. Obviously, everyone leaving there were drunk, robbed, killed, super often.
Super awesome.
No, often.
Those gunslingers were awesome.
Often.
Glad you came around the R1 of thinking here, Kenzie.
Okay,
You wear her down.
No. And many vulnerable women often slipped into addiction in an effort to escape kind of their horrific circumstances of working there, being there, and of the times. This particular hostelry would later become the Irish legend, which we now know today. The Prohibition breeded a wave of gangsters as well, which led to the Irish legend's twisted past. I'm about to hit you with some dark details.
Okay.
So it has been said that an illicit affair between a barman and one of the prostitutes occurred. The issue with that is one of the prostitutes was also the girlfriend of a gangster. The manager...
Not a good idea.
So the manager found out about the affair and was nervous that it would be bad for business. And he sent the barman to the basement stairs where the gangster was aware of what was going to happen. And he caved his skull in.
Yeah. That's about right.
He literally beat him to death.
Oh, that tracks.
He got his justice, I guess, is what the gangster thinks. No, he was infuriated at being double-crossed, so he also then beat his girlfriend to death.
Oh, well, that's horrible.
Well, so's the first one, Brian.
Well, again, the guy kind of did it on his own, I guess, in a way, but the girl had innocent girl.
So he did kill them both within that establishment. Another story, one of the prostitutes was beaten, killed, and wrapped in a blanket and rolled in the corner of the dining room, and they actually let her basically decompose for a little while. So her blood seeped out of the carpet and onto the timber floor, and a lot of people say they can still see the stain today from where her body laid rolled up in that carpet. So if you go and you ask, they'll kind of point out where that blood stain is, right in the middle of the dining room where you had your fish and chips or whatever.
Which were delicious and some of the best I've ever had. I didn't know about asking about the blood stain there, but maybe I will next time.
So visitors of the Irish legend have also reported hearing sounds of men fighting and struggling on the back stairs, an area of the bar which leads directly into the parking lot. As you can kind of imagine, that's where a lot of people were beat and drug out. So that kind of connects those dots. Most of the bodies that were drug out of the building were put into trunks and then thrown in nearby canals and disposed of. Now, this is where it gets really dark. So trigger warning. I'm not even kidding. In the kitchen, there were two pregnant prostitutes who were forced, I'm going to say, to not be pregnant anymore.
Oh, my God.
Now, the sounds of screaming, they say, still carry into the night, so much so that people have reported things before because they think things are happening in the building, and they do believe it's the shrieks from those women. Sad endings, like obviously like gangsters killing people, it's usually not for the most peaceful reasons in the world. And it's really believed that so many souls are trapped there because they're waiting for some sort of peace or justice to even be able to move on.
Yeah.
They truly feel trapped by the circumstance.
Can I ask, was the gangster, was it Al Capone related, or they don't know
I've
exactly?
seen it say Al Capone. I have seen that, but a lot of these stories, it wasn't clear that this gangster, the girlfriend of the gangster, that person wasn't named. And that, so it had Al Capone types, or maybe Al Capone's men were there more so, things like that. So it never specifically named which one. They said countless people were beaten, drug out of the building.
Yeah.
Countless, and thrown in canals.
Now, I want to make clear, the Irish legend that's there today had nothing to do with all this.
Oh, no, absolutely not. They came around a lot later. It is a thriving business with great food, testimony of Brian not getting paid for this. So it is available on a lot of ghost tours. And just like you said, if you go, a lot of the bartenders and servers, they are up on that information. I think it's an awesome spot to go visit and just kind of learn about that history. I mean, this is a building that's been standing since Prohibition. What it's seen and what it's experienced, it's kind of one of those like heavy feelings when you're in it because you're surrounded by so much history and so much past. Obviously, a lot of it negative, but a lot of it positive because it's been a successful business for a long time post gangsters and Prohibition.
Kenzie's Crimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a north side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
See, says Heaven's Gate away team.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
There you go. Another excellent edition of Kenzie's Crimes. And if you missed any part of that, if you came in a little bit late, it's always on the podcast later on when Case posts that. Right now, in the meantime, 312-591-8300. Text in your takeaway from today's show, something that was memorable to you about today's show with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Get your takeaway to us right now. Our guys, Fallout Boy, Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.